Hare Krishna. So we're very delighted to see all these wonderful faces again, and to be here again at the lotus feet of the most extremely beautiful Rukmini Dwarkadish. And Krishna's head is sculpted so sweetly here. And Sri Sri Gauranitai chanting in ecstasy. And Sri Sitaram Lakshman Hanumanji Maharaj, and to be at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada with all the devotees of Mombasa Yatra. We're very delighted. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So again, we'll go to Vrindavan without ticket or visa. We're just looking for a very old song that is very dear to Srila Prabhupada.
What is the name, Prabhu?
Jai Radha, Jai Krishna, Jai.
You have your devices. Again, please put them all in silent. Because these little babies have a way of crying in the middle of the katha. And you can look at Jai Radha, Jai Krishna, Jai Vrindavan. Jayo Radhe, Jayo Krishna, Jaya Vrindavan.
Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavan.
Jayo Radhe, Jayo Krishna, Jaya Jaya was one of Prabhupada's favorite bhajans, because it just takes us straight to, it takes us to all the places of Vraj. In fact, when we can sit on the bank of the Jamuna, in the soft sands of Jamuna and sing this song, we've got a special flavor. But when we're outside in Vrindavan, we sing this song just to remember all the wonderful places of Vraj. And you come to Vrindavan, you go and prick to all these places. Then when you come back here to Mombasa, and you sit and chant this bhajan, then you will see all these places coming like slideshow in the heart. Bing, bing, bing. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurum Nilidham Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manubhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamaya Mridati Swaparantikam Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktarin Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Panchakalpatrubhisya, Kripasindhu Bevacha, Patitanam Bhavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. So I was singing a wonderful pastime of Srila Prabhupada that I heard from, personally from Jamuna. Because when I was temple president in Portland, Oregon, Jamuna had a small ashram in southern Oregon. And she was going to install her deities Radha Manavihari. So So we came down from Portland to join that festival, and Vraj Maharaj and Jayatirtha came up from Berkeley to enjoy, to be there for this wonderful installation ceremony. And she told us so many wonderful stories. So one time, this is very, very early, Prabhupada brought some of his Western disciples to Bharat. And at that time they were in Calcutta. And one day Prabhupada came, he was very, very excited. And he told Jamuna, today my sister is coming. This is very, very old days. Nobody knew Pishi like this. This was the first time. So Prabhupada told her, he was very excited. And he told her, you have to cook this and this and this and this, and you have to cook it like this, that and that and that and that. And Prabhupada went to the kitchen, and he cooked this and this and this, like that and that and that, and she just helped. Prabhupada cooked the whole feast himself. So then finally, Pishima came, and in the next room, Jamuna sat them down and brought in these beautiful silver thalis with little silver katoris with all the nice preparations. And they began to take prasadam together. And they were just chattering away in Bengali. And Prabhupada was just eating like anything. Because Bengalis, without talking, they cannot digest. I know because I used to live in the old Brahmachari ashram, the Gurukul building. And the Bengali pujaris were in the room next door, and there was a door between us. So we could hear everything over there. So they would come back about 10 o'clock at night. We were already trying to sleep. And they would come back with all their Mahaprasad, and they would eat all their Mahaprasad and just... So Prabhupada was just eating like anything. And you know, on Sunday feast, when you eat too much prasadam, you get a little intoxicated. So Jamuna was coming in every once in a while with a hot chapati, or to fill up the katoris. And she came in one time, and Prabhupada had all his katoris stacked up like this. They're all empty. And Prabhupada looked at Jamuna and he said, see, I am a good boy. I have finished all my prasad. And with the last katori, he threw it at the bottom of the stack, so it came down with a big sound. And Jamuna realized that Prabhupada was completely intoxicated with prasadam. In this old days, so they didn't say Prabhupada said, oh, Swamiji. And what about your sister? Shall I give her some more? Shall I give her some more? And she doesn't know one single word of English. And Prabhupada said, she is so fat. If you give her anything more, she will explode. And then he smiled at his sister. She didn't have any idea what he just said. He smiled at his sister, and she smiled back, and she went, oh, Swamiji. And Prabhupada said, when we were young, I used to climb on her back and pull on her pigtails. And Prabhupada smiled at her, and Pishima smiled back. Very endearing pastime was Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So the other day we were talking about how Kusum Sarovar is just a little ways from Radhakund, and they pick flowers there to make garlands to meet Krishna in the noontime at Radhakund. So Mahaprabhu was doing Prikrama Vraj. The last place he went was first to Madhuban, then Thalaban, Kamudban, then Bahulavan, and from Bahulavan he started going towards Govardhan. And he was described in Chaitanya, it doesn't say Bahulavan, but since it's the last place he was, describes how all the cows came to see Mahaprabhu and they were sniffing, and their cowherd boys had great difficulty to call them back. And Mahaprabhu was seeing all the trees and the fruits, and trees were all bowing down heavy with fruits and paying obeisances to the Lord. This way he was doing Prakama. Not like you guys when you go there with AC bus and AC car. He was going by his feet with his two hands raised in the air. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And he was totally lost in ecstasy, no external consciousness. And when they approached the very end of Govardhan. As I told you, Govardhan is shaped like a peacock. So one end is, there's Radhakund and Shyamakund. That is where the head of the peacock. The other side is Uchri, the tail of Govardhan. So as they approached that place, Balabhadra Bhattacharya, who was traveling with Mahaprabhu, he asked one villager, what is the name of this village? And that villager told him, this is Aritagram. As soon as the sound of Aritagram came in Mahaprabhu's ear, he immediately returned to external consciousness. And he began to ask everyone, where's Radhakund and Shyamakund? Now, why hearing the word Aritagram did he think of Radhakund and Shyamakund? Because the original name of this place is Aristagram, named after a big demon named Aristasura, who came in the form of a bull, yes. Came in the form of a bull. So this is the place where Aristasura was killed. Now we heard that Radhakund and Shyamakund are very sweet Madhurya Ras place. So what does this big demon have to do with Radhakund and Shyamakund? Why Mahaprabhu thought, when he was reminded of this demon, why did he think of Radhakund and Shyamakund? Because what happened is that Krishna had come there to that place at the end of Govardhan, all dressed up for doing Ras Lila with the gopis, Radharani and the gopis. Prabhu said he's dressed just like dancing actor. We say Natavara. Natavara means dancing actor. When he got the news that this Aristasura is terrorizing the Vrishvasis. You thought this terrorism was a new thing. But this has been going on at least the last 5,000 years. This was Arista bin Laden. So, and that Aristasura, he took one look when he saw Krishna. He was very ferocious. And he was terrorizing the Vrishvasis. With his feet, he was digging up the earth. With his horns, he was smashing their houses. With his roaring cows and Vrishvasinis had miscarriages like this. He was so big, his tail was swatting the clouds in the sky. And Krishna became very angry. He said, why are you terrorizing this poor Vrishvasis? Now you have to fight with me. And Krishna slapped his shoulders just like a wrestler, an Indian wrestler. Then he put his hand on the shoulder of his friend, described in Nectar Devotion. Krishna put his hand on the shoulder of his friend. So he wasn't at least concerned. He wasn't worried at all about Aristasura. And Aristasura pointed his horns and he came charging like a freight train, just charging towards Krishna. And Nectar Devotion describes that Krishna is very intelligent. He knows you can control the bull by the horns. So he grabbed him by the horns and swung him around and around and around and smashed him on the ground and pulled out one of his horns and began to beat him, and then he stepped on him like it's described like a wet sponge. Ping, 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 ping. And passing stool and urine simultaneously, he went to the kingdom of death. Then Krishna said to all the Radharani, all the gopis, okay, now we can do Ras. And Radharani said, how we can be associated with such a person as you? You have done a big pop. You know pop? Pop means Coca-Cola? No. Pop means sin. You've done a big sin. What sin did I do? He said, you killed the bull. He said, that wasn't a bull, that was a demon. And Radharani said, may have been a demon, but he was in the form of a bull. And Krishna said, may have been in the form of a bull, but he was a demon. And Radharani said, well, we heard from Mother Purnamasi that one time Indra, he killed one demon. He was a demon. But he was in the form of a Brahmin. You remember in Bhagavatam, that Vritrasura, he got reaction. That old lady coughing blood with tuberculosis, she came chasing after Indra. He got reaction. He was a demon, but he was in the form of a Brahmin. So Krishna said, well, then what do I have to do to get free from this sin? So Radharani and all their friends, they discussed with one another. They said, you will have to take bath at all the sacred places of the universe. And Shamsundar said, Are, that will take a long time. How I can be away from all you girls for so long? I will call all the sacred places in one spot and take my bath. And Radharani and the Sakhis, we don't believe in your magic, Shamsundar. Don't try to fool us. And then Krishna, he played on his flute, and all the holy places personified appeared before him, bowing down and holding their hands, and he said, Maharaj. And Krishna says, yes, you all come. Then Krishna said, yes, I have one thing for you to do. And he took his right foot and he smashed out a big depression in the ground. And he said, I want you to come forward, chant your mantra. First give your introduction, chant your mantra, and pour your water in my wound. So all the sacred places personified came forward, they gave their introduction. I'm the milk ocean, he chanted his mantra, poured his water. Then I'm Pushkar, he chanted his mantra, poured his water. All the sacred places come. I'm the Dahi ocean, I'm the sugarcane ocean, I'm the saltwater ocean, I'm the Ganga, Jamuna, Saraswati. Every holy place came. And they were giving their introduction, chanting their mantra, and pouring their water in Krishna's feet. And Krishna, just by his eyes, he was showing the gopis. Because when we have love, then we don't need words. Just like when we're angry, then we shout at each other. We're standing right in front of each other. We don't need to shout. But our hearts have gone far away. So we shout to make our points. But when there's love, then our hearts are very close together. We don't need, just sometimes we speak, or sometimes just by our eyes. No need of words. So Krishna is showing by his eyes. I told you, they're coming, you see? So this went on all the way practically to the midnight. Finally at the midnight, Krishna took his bath in the Kund, and then he told Radharani that now you come in the Kund and we'll enjoy water pastimes, Jalakili. And Radharani and the Sakhi said, Are, this Kund is contaminated with your sin. How we can come in this Kund? We're going to make our own Kund. So there was a place just near Krishna's Kund where Vistasura had dug his hoof into the ground. So there was a little depression. So Radharani, she broke her golden bangle. Golden bangle we call kankan, or sometimes kangan. And she began to dig. And all the Sakhis, they broke their kankans and they began to dig. If you go on YouTube, and you type in Kankan, you can see that the cleaning last time they did was 2010. You can see the cleaning of Radhakund and Shamakund. And you'll be shocked to see how deep they are. I was very fortunate. I saw the cleaning in 1987. They did the cleaning of Radhakund, and again in 2000. Both times I was able to see that, because after they pumped out all the water, you can see in the middle there's this little square kund. We went down, we were so shocked in 1987, we just came on that day on Prikama, and we saw Kankan Kund. And we went down into the mud, we pulled up our dhotis and saris, and we were walking in mud up to our calves. And we were walking around, we were trying to circumambulate the Kankan Kund, and there was everybody, there were so many lines, people, passing, they're taking out all the black mud and passing it to the next, then into, the tractor trailers like this. And so they were all yelling at us, and I saw there were some flags there. And I thought they thought that maybe we're disturbing their cleaning, and they were yelling and waving. And then suddenly I stepped, and there was no bottom. My foot went way down. One foot was up like this, and one foot was way down like this. That's why the flags were there, that's why they were yelling that there's a hole there, that's why the flag was there. So somehow, the more I struggled, the more my foot went down, and somehow, with the one foot on solid, somehow I got my foot out, and we went around and circumambulated the Kund. And one devotee, Ram Roy, who's now every day in New York. If it's snowing, he's in the subway, otherwise he's in the park. Every day doing Harinam, like he was trained up by Angra. And he's taking this Harinam back to the streets every day in New York. So he just put on his gumsha and jumped into the Kund. The rest of it just walked around in the mud. And then that time there's a pathway. Well, I'll get to that. Anyway, so they dug this beautiful kund. And the Krishna came and said, your kund is very nice, but there's no water in it. And Radharani said, we're going to bring water from Manasiganga. Have you heard about Manasiganga last night? With thousands of gopis, will have one line going, one line coming, silver and gold in kalashas, water pots, and we'll bring water from Manasiganga. Now Krishna, he doesn't like to see Radharani and the Sakhis do any type of hard work. He can't bear to see even a bead of perspiration comes on Radharani's brow. So he signaled to all those places personified. They came one person, and they came before Srimati Radhika, and they began to offer beautiful prayers at her lotus feet. And they told her that we thought that the perfection of life was to be associated with the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Because you think when Krishna bathed in all the sacred waters, he became purified, right? Yes?
Yeah.
Nyet, no. Nahi. All the holy places first became purified because Krishna bathed in them. And they said, but now seeing your divine, wonderful qualities, and the devotion that Krishna has for your feet, we want to be associated with your lotus feet. And she looked suspiciously at Krishna. He said, what do you want? And those places we want to come in, your kund. Then she smiled at Krishna, and she shook her head. When you go to India, you have, sometimes they mean yes, sometimes mean no. You just have to know the vibe. You'll get confused. So they broke through the wall of Shamakund, and all the waters from Shamakund came into Radhakund. And it happened exactly at the midnight. So when you look across, when you first come into Radhakund, you look across, you'll see there's a sunroom. And you can see underneath the stairs, there's a hole in between. Actually, in 1987, after we were circumambulating, we saw that we could run back and forth, myself and my godbrother, Kripanidhi. Now he stays in He's from Canada, but now he stays in Mayapur. He was just in Vrindavan in class the other day. So both of us were running back and forth. It was probably the only ISKCON devotees who could run in that corridor between Radhakund and Shabakund. So, therefore, when Mahaprabhu heard this is a Ristigram, he began to ask everyone, where's Radhakund and Shabakund? But they were lost to the eyes of the world, nobody knew. But we know, Brijandanandana say, Sachi Sutta Poidam say. No, Brijandanandana Jay, Sachi Sutta Poidam say. That Brijandanand Samsundar, he's now come as Sachi Sutta, the son of Mother Sachi. So being the self-same Brijandanand Samsundar, he sat underneath a tamal tree. Unfortunately, the tamal tree is no longer there. They planted a new one. We'll see what happens. He sat under a tamal tree and he saw there was 2 rice paddy fields. One was called Kali, one was called Gauri. So you can figure out Kali means black, so that was Shamakund. And Gauri, that's golden, that was Radhakund. So then Mahaprabhu, he went down into those paddy fields, and with whatever water was there, he took his bath. All the residents of Radhakund were completely astounded. What is this sannyasi doing? And he chanted so many beautiful prayers. Sabha gopi haiti radha krishna da priyasi, taiti radha kunda priya priya da sarasi, and sabha gopa haiti. Of all the gopis, Radha Krishna da priyasi. Radharani is most dear to Krishna. Sabha gopi haiti radha krishna da priyasi, taiti radha kunda priya priya da sarasi. This way, this sarasi, this kund, this lake, is just as dear to Krishna as Radha. From Padma Puran. Itarala priya Vishnu stasya kundam priyam data sarva gopishu saivaika Vishnu ratyanta baldava. Itarala priya Vishnu, just as Radha is very dear to Vishnu or Krishna, tasya kundam priyam data, that kund known as Radhakund is just as dear to Krishna as Radha. Sarva gopishu saivaika, we know sarva means. You know what sarva means? All. Sarva gopishu saiveka. Ek means one. Of all the gopis, there's one, Vishnu atyanta balava. When we want to go to the very extremist, then we use the word atyant. The most bestest devotee, the most dearest devotee, most belovedest. The balava means beloved. Mostest belovedest of Krishna. I mean, Atyan means the mostest belovedest. Then a beautiful verse that even Hindi walas get. This Krishnadas Kaviraj, after you study Bengali literature, you have to study Chaitanya Charitamrita, because there's nothing like it. Even from mundane scholarship point of view, he is this. It is very, very simple Bengali. Even uneducated person can understand. But still in that simple language, all the deep truths of Mahaprabhu's philosophy is explained. All the deep truths of Mahaprabhu's philosophy. Now ordinarily, if you write something very sweet, then it becomes very flowery and long and long and long. And if you write about some philosophical thing, then you use these big, big words and everybody goes, oh. But Krishna's Kaviraj is such sweet, simple language, kept such deep truths. So even Hindi wala can understand. E kunde nitya Krishna radhika rasange jale jala kele kore tire rasarange. You can follow that. E kunde, this kun. E kunde nitya, always Krishna. Radhika rasange, along with Radharani. Jale. Of course in Hindi we say pani. I think when our Western devotees, the first word they learn in Hindi is pani. Because we're on trip, everybody's, oh Prabhu, where's pani? But in Bengal we say jal. So jale, in the jal, Jalakeli, we can figure that, water pastimes. Jalakeli, tire, just like the bank, not the ones that are ripping us off, but the bank of the Kund, you know. Tire, Rasarangi. On the banks of the Kund, they're doing Ras Lila. So very so simple and sweet. E Kunde Nitya Krishna Radhika Rasange Jale Jalakeli Kore Tire Rasarangi. E Kunde se ek bara kore snana Tandra Radha Sama Prema Krishna Kore Dana. Says, E Kunde, in this Kund, say, if somebody ek bar kore snan. It's like every year we celebrate, do we celebrate Snan Yatra here? Or at least in Kusuma, we have Jagannath. If somebody one time takes his bath in this Kund, Jai Sisi Radha, Rukmini, Dwarkadish, Sisi Jai Sisi Charan Lakshman. Say, ek bara kore snan. Somebody one time takes his bath, Chandra Radha Sama Prema Krishna Kore Dana. We hear this word Sama. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Samaham Sarvabhutesh. I'm equal to everyone. So Chandra Radha Sama Prema. That praying equal to Radharani Krishna Kore Dana. When you go, Dan means to give donation. When you go to Radhakund, so many Brahmins will come very greedy to take donations. But Krishna is giving donation. What donation? Radha Sama Prema. That praying equal to Srimati Radharani, Krishna gives in charity to anyone who one time takes his bath. E Kunde Nitya Krishna Radhika Ratna. Say Ek Balaka Kore Sana Chandra Radha Sama Prema Krishna Kore Dana. Kundara Mahima Yena Radha Mahima. Kundara Madhuri Yena Radha Madhurima. Mahima means the glories. The glories of this Kund is just as glorious as Srimati Radhika, and Kundara Madhuri, the sweetness of this Kund is just as sweet as the Madhurima, the sweetness of Srimati Radhika. Saying all these prayers, Mahaprabhu took his bath and he marked his body with the tilak from the banks of the Kund. And you can find all these beautiful prayers. They're in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in whatever language you know, you can find all these beautiful prayers. So nice, beautiful prayers. Mahaprabhu took his bath and he revealed Radhakund and Shamakund to the eyes of the world. And Jiva Goswami, although everybody on Kartik, on the Bahulasami night, everybody goes there for midnight snan, but Jiva Goswami explains actually that it was on Chaitra Purnima. It's like now Falguna has started, then that will end with Gaur Purnima. Then the month of Chaitra will begin. On the Chaitra Purnima, Jiva Goswami very specifically. And especially if you go on that, we used to go, one time I had 8 buses. And we used to go, we do kirtan all around Radhakund and Shamakund. 3 times we go around with kirtan, and then we would sit on the bank somewhere. We had our special place that we would sit and wait till midnight and go in the water and take bath. But many years ago, last time I went, it was so crowded. It just took almost an hour just to get down the steps. People were trying to get up, people were trying to come down. Finally, we were just coming down and some of the people behind me just fell, and so I just fell on top of those people and came crashing down. And then we discovered that actually Jiva Goswami very carefully describes that it was Chaitra Purnima. So now many devotees are going on Chaitra very peacefully. Because those days it was very peaceful. Now it's just too crowded. So we stopped going in. And we saw all the villagers are throwing this special squash called peta. Which is just like, Agra is very famous for this sweet, peta. When you go on the train, Agra ka peta, Agra ka mashur peta. So there's some Ahoy Devi, some Devi who's connected with fertility. So they're throwing this peta in the Kund, in order that in their wives' pay will come a baby. So that got mixed up with it, because there's a quote in Padma Purana. It doesn't say anything about midnight. It just says that if somebody takes his bath on the Bahulastami Tithi, then he becomes very dear to Srimati Radharani. It doesn't say midnight, doesn't say about appearance of Radharani. It doesn't say anything. It just says it's a auspicious day to take bath. You can go anytime. You don't have to go at midnight. Anytime. But Jiva Goswami explained that actually it was on Chaitra Purnima. Somehow the Vaishnavas got mixed up with this fertility thing, and everybody does it all on the same day. That's midnight, and it's Tukrana. It's completely Tukrana. It's a big mess. So then the question comes whether we should bathe in Radha. Now my older godbrothers who stayed in Vrindavan long before me, I didn't stay in Vrindavan until 1984. But those who were in Vrindavan, they told that Prabhupada took them on Prikrama. You can see somehow or other, that was long before these mobile phones were, and cameras were very rare. But somehow Guru Das had a camera. So you see, Prabhupada in the palki going up to Barsana and walking around and Nandagram temple, so many beautiful pictures. And we see in Your Ever Well-Wisher film by Yadavar, he got some scene. So actually someone had a movie camera, those 16 millimeter film, or maybe 8 millimeter film, if you remember those things. So they all went to Brahmandagat in Gokul, and Prabhupada went down, he touched the water. He said, "It is too cold for old man like me, but you all go in." So all the devotees jumped in and they were having a good time. Then you can see Prabhupada sitting with his godbrother Adikeshan, O.B.L. Kapoor. And suddenly he's talking like this. Why not? He saw the devotees having so much fun. And then in 2 seconds, Prabhupada was out of his lungi and into his gamcha. And then he went down, and the late Shri Daksha from London, he took him by the hand and took him down to the water in pure Indian style. Prabhupada holds his nose like this, and boom! And then going like that. You remember that in the film. That is a Brahmanic. Anyway, Prabhupada brought them to Radhakund. He pointed with his cane, "This is Radhakund." And the devotees just went mad. They just jumped out of their saris or dhotis and whatever, and just put on their bathing gamshas or whatever they had. And they jumped into the water. And the only thing Prabhupada did, because everybody forgot, they just went completely transcended the bodily existence, So Prabhupada was just with his cane, he was trying to make the ladies should go on one side and the gents should go on another side. That's all he did. So then later, especially as Westerners, we were very frivolous. So we would go there jumping, splashing, doing cannonballs, doing flips, doing backflips, and so many things. And Prabhupada stopped us. He said, "Nobody should take bath. You take some water on your heads and bus." But I studied this very carefully. You look in the Vedas, in 1977, Prabhupada wanted to go on Prikrama of Govardhan. Somehow they convinced him that it is not possible. He wanted to go to Bulakar, but his body was very, very, very weak. His godbrother, Kanchana Krishnadas Babaji, came and said, told him, "No, you can't do it." So they decided that the devotees would go. So you can see, in the conversation, Tamal Krishna tells Prabhupada, "We'll see Kusum Sarovar, we'll see Manasi Ganga, we'll see Govindakund, we'll see Radhakund." When he says, "We'll see Radhakund," Prabhupada says, "Yes, you all go take bath on my behalf." So that's my version of the final order. That's the final order. You can do Ritvik Snan and Radhakund on Prabhupada's behalf. Of course, you should take permission from your spiritual master. Anyway, the final order of the Prabhupada is, "Yes, you all go take bath on my behalf." So very reverently, without jumping and splashing, very reverently, and putting some water on your head first before you put your feet in. Some devotees are so fanatic, they crawl in head first. You take your bath very peacefully and calmly like that, reverently, and then you can take bath in Radhakund. Sri Radhakund Chabakunda ki jai. And now at that place, that place where Mahaprabhu sat and discovered Radhakund and Chabakund, that is called Tamal Tala. Because it used to be an old ancient Tamal tree. Jai Sisi Rukmini Gurukis Gauri Tari Sitaram So, and it was just out in the open. We were just there in the hot sun because by this Radhakund we used to start to pick on the Kusum's rover. So Radhakund is, by the time we get to Radhakund, the sun has become quite hot. And we were just sitting in the heat, seeing this place. And the monkeys were tearing up that tree. So one time somebody gave me a donation, said, you please, put a screen over this tree to save it from the monkeys. So I went there, then I saw that somebody from Assam, he was building a whole thing. So we just gave out whatever donation we had, we just gave to them, mixed it all up. But before they could cover that tree, the monkeys killed that tree. 1996, the centennial year, that tree went back to Godhead. They planted another one, but it never grew. So they made a simple place there. Now there's a nice Filipino Baba named Parmanand. He was associated with this guy before, now he's on his own. But he's done so much work in Radhakund. And he tore down this whole place, and I was really worried because I said, you never know what's going to happen. But he just made it very beautiful, all carved marble, carved stone, and beautiful, installed a beautiful deity of Mahaprabhu with praying, just emanating from the eyes of that deity. And he put one life member from Delhi gave him, I can't remember how many lakhs, but he made all these dioramas of all the different pastimes, all around, just under the roof. Just like you have all these quotes here. There's a big space, and he's got all, Mahaprabhu's standing in the paddy field, and then there's Advaitacharya worshipping Shalagram, then there's who is it? Raghunath Das Goswami. He would take the rice that was, even the cows wouldn't eat. And he would take that and take it to the sea and wash it and take the kernel. And Mahaprabhu came, oh, Raghunath, you're having a feast and you didn't invite me. He said, no. Mahaprabhu took it. And that pastime was all beautiful pastimes. And now he's made some little deities are there, Panchatattva deities are there, and some other deities are there. And it's just an amazing place. Completely amazing place. A complete shelter from the sun. And nearby he's planted another tamal tree to see if it survives. They planted one, but it never survived. And he's got a beautiful plaque there, thanking that all the followers of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta and Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada had donated for fixing up this place. So you got Prabhupada's name here. And many other places he fixed up all around Radhakund. This little tiny, short little Filipino Baba, Parmanand. So that Tamal Tala is a very, very beautiful place. In this way, and of course in the middle is the Sangam, and you can still see when you look from the other side, you can see there's a place where you can see through the steps, you can see this hollow. There's a path between Radhakund and Chandrakund. So, and there's right on the corner, what is it? Northwest corner. of Radhakund, there's a temple that His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj. It belonged to the king of Manipur. Actually, it's very interesting, very interesting history. Because you go to Radhakund, if you're a little perceptive, you see there's many, many Manipuri temples there. So what happened was during World War II, the British wanted to go through Manipur to get to Burma. And they asked the king of Manipur for permission to go through. So he gave him permission. And so they said, what do you want? And they said, just give us Radhakund. So actually Radhakund was given by the British to the Manipuris. Now, of course, British have taken pieces of it here and there and here and there. So many, many Manipuri temples are there. And there's one that the king of Manipur, he got dreamed that where the first rays of the rising sun strike Radhakund, you should build a temple. So the sun will rise in the southeast, you know? So on the northeast corners where the first rays of the sun will strike. So he made a little Gopalji mandir there. And so he gave that over to Bhakti Swarup Damodar, his ancestors, or descendants. They gave it over to Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj. And those devotees are still there maintaining that place very nicely. Beautiful deity of Gopalji is there, there's Radha Vinod is there, Radha Raman, there's two different sets of Radha Krishna deities, and there's Laddu Gopalji. And if you go around back, there's the most amazing Samadhi Mandir of Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj. Completely Manipuri style, hard marbles and stone there. Just incredible. It's very special. In fact, there's a big space around it. So when we first come to Radhakund, we take our first bath in Radhakund, and then we see a few places, and then we come there. And it's a big area around the Samadhi where we can all sit and take prasadam. And the devotees from Gopalji Mandir prepare prasad for us. We all sit at the lotus feet of Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj. It's a very unique Samadhi. And Bhakti Swarup Damodar is the first ISKCON devotee to have. You can just imagine how dear he was to Prabhupada, because he's first ISKCON devotee to get his Samadhi in Radhakund. A very beautiful place. Just on the northwest corner of Radhakund. And then you come around and there's a Gopinatha. Because Ma Janava, she came to Vraj after Mahaprabhu disappeared. Ma Janava came to Vraj to comfort all of the Vaishnavas. When they were in Vrindavan, she heard that Raghunath Das was there in Radhakund. So she went to Radhakund because he was too old and weak at that time to travel. So she went to Radhakund. And at that place, there's Ma Janava Beta, that also our Paramahansa Baba has fixed it up beautifully. And again, a big black marble plaque is there with Prabhupada's golden name in there, that the followers of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada contributed to build this beautiful place. He fixed it up very nicely. So she was sitting on that place underneath the Tamal tree when she got darshan of Gopinath. So they have a Gopinath temple there. And in that temple, on Krishna's, Radharani is usually on Krishna's left. But there she's on the right side, and Ma Janava, her Vraj form is Ananga Manjari. So Ananga Manjari is on the left side, and Radharani is on the right side. This is a specialty of many of the Gopinath temples in Vraj. The Gopinath temple is there. In the back side, there's the actual Samadhi of Raghunath Das Goswami. Very beautiful white marble dome is there. 24 kirtan has been going on there for many, many, many decades. Not just years, but decades. 24 kirtan is going on there. And then, from there, there's a little path that goes to the Sangam. The Sangam is a very special place. was one time, because we know Prabhupada was doing his pharmaceutical business, so he went one time to Agra for selling his medicines, because he knew that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was in Radhakund. So Prabhupada came to Radhakund, he met his spiritual master, and walking on that Sangam, he told Prabhupada, Aag Jaldi. At that time they just got that place, that, where is that place now? What is it called? Where is that part of it? The Gaudiya Math temple in near Ultadanga? Huh? Bagh Bazar Gaudiya Math. So, and everybody was fighting about, I want to stay in this room, I want to stay in that room. So Bhaktisiddhanta said, Aag Jaldi, there'll be fire. He knew that after he left there'll be fire. And he looked at Prabhupada and he said that if you ever get money, print books. So book distribution was born from the Sangam of Radhakund and Shamakund. He got this sacred order from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta in that place. They were walking and he said, if you ever get money, print books. Because Sankirtan, actually, if you go to Vraj, you'll see all the common people, they chant Radhe Radhe Shyame Radhe. They're, oh Radharani, meet me with Shyam. But that's Sanskarification. We want to make arrangements for Krishna to meet with Radha and Radha to meet with Krishna. This is our Gaudiya Siddhanta. We want to make arrangements for the gopis to meet with Krishna. But Radharani, she's always trying to get make arrangements for the gopis to meet with Krishna. So this is the real Radha Bhav, not sitting in Radhakund and actually one very good, Baba Madhavdas who gave us Vrindakund, he said, what is their siddha? They're just chanting. They just go to the bandara, eat puri and sag, and go home and chant Zed mantra. This is a Zed mantra. So the real Radha Bhav is to bring people to Krishna. So this is book distribution. We're distributing Prabhupada's books here. This is a Radha Bhav. We only give Radha Bhav. Don't go pretend in Radhakund. To go out and do some solid service for Prabhupada, distributing his books. So these beautiful places there in the Sangam. And then nearby is Manasa Pavana Ghat. And on Manasa Pavana Ghat, there's Raghunath Das Goswami's Bhajan Kutir. Again, this Parmananda Baba, he fixed, because that place is also in the sun. Now he's got a beautiful hall there, beautiful carved marble and everything, very beautiful place. And he stayed there and did his bhajan for more than 40 years, maybe 45 years he was doing his bhajan. And you see the Bhajan Kutir, you see the actual Samadhi Mandir, and the Bhajan, there's a small picture, but in the Bhajan Kutir there's a big picture of two pastimes in one picture. At one time Raghunath Das was, I'm just telling this pastime. So Raghunath Das was chanting and chanting, not paying any attention, and a tiger and tigress came to take water from Shamakund. And he wasn't paying any attention, and Krishna was standing there protecting him. And that time Sanatana Goswami came from Manasi Ganga, and he saw Raghunath sitting there chanting and not paying any attention, and this tiger and tigress there, Krishna standing there guarding, and then Krishna smiled at Sanatana Goswami and disappeared. He came running, he said, what kind of bhajan are you doing? You're chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna, let me serve you, and you're taking service. Tiger and tigress has come. Krishna has to come and take care, protect you. What kind of bhajan is this? So he promised, okay, I'll be more careful in the future. Another day, it was summertime, when the weather's nice and cool, only 45, 50 degrees. And they say only mad dog and Englishman go in the noonday sun. And Raghunath, he was chanting his rounds, not paying any attention. And Sanatana Goswami came that day also. He looked down and he saw Radharani was holding her palu. The end part of the sari is called palu. She was holding it over Raghunath's head, shading him from the sun. And because she's holding her palu like this, you can see her choli is all wet. She's sweating and sweating. And Raghunath, she smiled at Raghunath and disappeared. And Sanatana Goswami came running. He said, "What type of bhajan is this? You're chanting Hare Krishna, Radha, let me serve you. You're taking service. You don't see it's noonday sun. You see, because Radharani was sweating and sweating, the sand was all wet. Radharani's footprints were there in the sand." He said, if you don't know how to take care of yourself, you make a kutir and you do your bhajan inside a bhajan kutir. So this bhajan kutir system started from this Manasa Pavana Ghat. Anyway, it's late, so we should put our voice to rest here. If anybody has any questions, we can try to answer your questions. Actually, Radhakund, which is my book, I think 25% is just Radhakund. So many pastimes just in Radhakund. So if there's no questions, then we can end with the kirtan. And the devotees in Mauritius, they're all always asking, do that one. So there's a nice, because Krishna's name is Kanaya, he's a little brother. And older brother means Dao. So in Vraj, nobody calls Balaram, they call him Daoji. Oh, Sri Daoji Maharaj Ki Jai. So there's a beautiful song of Krishna, Kanaya and Daoji's names. You're all tired of sitting, so you can stand up. Again, this one is dancing. Just like now in Delhi has expanded to the other side of the Jamuna, so that's called Jamuna Har. Delhi Jamuna Har. So Neya is the boatman, and with us are both singing the name of Krishna Kanaya. Har Kanaya, Neya Devajo Krishna Kanaya.
Jai